Most collector items just sit on our shelves looking pretty, but every so often something comes along that manages to tap into nostalgia while adding a bit of genuine magic under the hood. To celebrate the 30th anniversary of Toy Story, Robosen has released a new line of figurines that may look like toys at first glance, but are actually clever little robots.
I suppose it's just a mistake.
This is the Robosen Toy Story 30th Anniversary Collector Set. This set brings Woody, Buzz Lightyear, the alien Lotso, Jessie and Rex to life with robotics, voice lines and interactive play modes. Aimed at collectors, Disney fans and anyone who grew up with Toy Story, it blends robotics with Pixar's classic characters. But with a price tag of just under £200, it's definitely not a cheap set. So is this product truly worth that asking price? Well, let's first start by unboxing it. So opening the set is definitely a bit of a thrill. You can tell they've put a lot of effort into the presentation. Each character is tucked neatly into its own cutout, which honestly feels a little bit like unboxing something expensive, like a new iPhone or a fancy gadget. It's quite a premium unboxing experience, to be fair. I will start by saying the colours on these really pop. They've actually done a solid job of matching that on-screen look we've all remembered. And the detailing is pretty much spot on. Each figure actually feels rather solid. They've used a mix of nice plastics and a little bit of fabric touches that make them feel more like proper collectibles than just standard toys. I've got to give credit where it's due. The stitching on Woody's outfit is neat. Buzz has these glossy panels that catch the light just right, and Jessie's boots have a surprising amount of detail. Even Rex, who's the big chunky one of the bunch, still gets that scaly texture and a really expressive face, which certainly reflects more that asking price. I was expecting them to look quite cheap, but they have put a lot of detail into them. It's clear Robosen treated these not just as toys, but as miniature tributes to Pixar's design. Even the fabric elements like Woody's hat and Jessie's bow don't feel like afterthoughts. They have been stitched carefully and sized right, so the transition between fabric and plastic feels seamless rather than cheap, like some of the other ones you see on the market. Now the articulation is cleverly hidden. Hinges and motors are tucked neatly into the joints so they don't break the immersion. Apart from the literal sound of the motors within each figurine, which I will say, it does sound quite loud, you'd almost forget these are robotic until you see them move. Now the toys do come with this main rechargeable base, which basically acts as the control center for each figurine. You do have to use this every time, so that means taking the figurine out and slotting it back in whenever you want to switch. It's pretty simple though, just line it up with the base and push down. I'll be honest, it is a little firm, so I'd recommend pushing from the base itself and not pressing directly on the figurine. The last thing you want to do is accidentally snap an arm off. Once it's in properly, it does this little first time startup action.
Well, hello there. I thought I heard new voices.
So the base itself has 4 physical buttons: mode, play, volume control and power. Nothing fancy, just very simple. Each robot comes loaded with a bunch of preset actions, anywhere from about 10 to 20. Woody's the star of the show with 20 actions though, while the others sit more around that 10 to 12 mark. Honestly, it's enough variety to keep things interesting for a while. As mentioned, the motors are smooth but not quiet, so the movements do feel natural and aren't jerky at all, but you will hear that motor. The voice playback on the other hand from the front onboard speaker is surprisingly crisp and loud enough to fill an entire room on the loudest settings. Now, Robosen's Studio Hub lets you trigger specific actions or even download a library of sounds and actions that the community has uploaded. And the nice part is, it doesn't matter if you're on Mac or Windows, you can just plug the bass into your computer and the whole thing's web-based. So there's no messing around with software installs or anything like that. There's actually a lot to play with in here. You can demo each download first, watching the actions line up with the recordings and see which one you actually want. It is pretty cool. The interface is super straightforward. Honestly, it doesn't take long to figure out at all. Once you pick something, you just grab the downloaded file, unzip it, and drag it over to the root device folder. Then it's as simple as turning the bass off and on again, and the system automatically kicks off the install. You even get little audio cues so you know when it's working.
I don't need. His Amazon wish list is longer than my life goals. I don't need a gadget that slices apples into swans.
The fact you can also program custom routines is pretty cool because it means you're not just stuck with the built-in ones forever. I like that it keeps things fresh and gives you a bit of freedom to make things work on your own. That said, I'll be honest, it's not something everyone's going to bother with. Like, if you're the kind of person who enjoys tinkering with tech, you'll love it. But if you just want to take the figurines out the box, hit the play button and have some fun, you might never touch this feature. For me though, it is a nice little option to have it in the back pocket, just to allow you to breathe new life into the preset voice lines. I think what really makes the whole experience stand out is how each character actually has their own personality baked in. Like, Woody's movements feel loose and kind of easygoing, whereas Buzz comes across sharp and commanding. So it isn't just the same motions across every figurine, they have been tailored for each character. For families, they're a brilliant way to bring kids into the Toy Story world. For adults, there's the nostalgia hit. Having them on display, knowing they can also move and talk, adds a sense of magic you don't normally get from collectibles. Even as a desk accessory, they work. But there are a few caveats. These are delicate compared to standard toys, so they're not really meant for rough play. They're more for collectors and careful users than kids who want to throw them around. They've simply not been built for that. Price is another factor. It's a collector's item, and it feels like one too, so this isn't an impulse buy. You're paying for the mix of Disney licensing, robotic engineering, and collector's presentation. That said, when you see them in action, it's easier to justify. The sheer joy of seeing them move and talk makes you forget the price tag, at least for a moment. Still, for families thinking of handling them for younger kids, it's worth weighing up the value against the fact they're more of a display piece than a rough and tumble toy. All in all, the Robosen Toy Story 30th Anniversary Collector Set is one of those rare products that blurs the line between toy, tech, and collectible. And that really does justice to Pixar's legacy. As always, be sure to check this product out in the link in the description. Let me know what you think. Till next time.